Welcome viewers to the Personal Injury Law Show. This is a show that talks about transport accidents, work accidents, public liability, slips and falls. My name's Tony Carbone, personal injury lawyer with over 25 years experience. With me tonight I've got Don Maffia, a transport accident lawyer. How are you, Don?
Good, Tony. Good evening, Tony. Good evening, viewers.
And also an up-and-coming star in the field of transport accidents, Robert Paoletti. Good evening, Robert.
How's it going, Tony? Always a pleasure to be here.
Great. Tony, first, what's in the news?
What's in the news is this story of Mr. Huff, who was driving his Porsche. When he crashed it, paramedics went to the site and they pronounced him dead. He was in the car for 25 minutes before SES volunteers went to the car to have a look, and they found that he was still alive. He had a pulse. But what's amazing is that he's made this miraculous recovery, and he's actually speaking, and he's also showering himself. And
so he was pronounced dead on arrival, like when the ambulance arrived, the SES, and then took some time to work out that he was still alive.
Paramedics got there and they said he was dead. Then the SES rocked up 25 minutes later, Rob, and they said they found a pulse. It's
an amazing story, Tony, because I don't think they actually knew that he was alive until they started to cut him out, and lo and behold, there he was with a pulse.
But 25 minutes without, you know...
It's a long time. Well, was it difficult for the SES workers to get in there to see him, maybe, Tony, to maybe examine him
Well, no,
properly?
It's the paramedics that initially said he was dead.
Wow.
So they're the experts, and they obviously made a blunder here, and they've acknowledged that, but it's just an absolutely astounding story, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's very fortunate to have come out of it alive.
But you'd have to guess he's going to be left with some brain damage, wouldn't you? No?
Well, you would think so. But look, he seems he's doing very well, so it's good on him, and the best of his recovery.
He's made a Lazarus recovery, that's all I can say.
That's about right.
The next story, and this is the one that's probably of most concern tonight, and probably the most interesting part of what we're doing, is trams and trains tonight. This is the overcrowding among trams and trains, and the number of serious injuries have increased over the years. Now, they say that a total of 162 passengers were injured in slips and falls on trams between 2010 and 2011. And a lot of these were over the age of 60. It just raises the issue, Rob, of conductors and that. Do we need tram conductors?
Well, it sounds like we may just need someone on the trams to help, because they're clearly, with overcrowding on the trams, people are having a lot more accidents, and we need some kind of system to help keep people safe, because the numbers are just going up. Also,
Don, isn't it the case that when you've got a conductor, at least they can actually wave or gesture to the driver as to when it's safe to proceed?
Yeah, that's correct. And there's been studies where since the conductor's been taken off the trams, there's been an increase in all these incidents. And also now, Tony, even with the ticket machines where you're required to stand up and purchase a ticket, the tram's still moving. It's not the day where you used to go in and just purchase it before you get on.
And so effectively what you've got is you've got people scrambling trying to buy tickets, and they've got nothing to hold on to, and you've got people behind them. So, and those trams, they sort of jolt when they take off.
I don't know about you, Tony, but I end up doing acrobatics every time I'm trying to buy a ticket. I end up almost on my head.
And you're pretty nimble, so you can imagine
I like to think I am, but
our elderly...
The trams are another vehicle, Tony. They're on the road. They have to negotiate traffic in the city. You've got cyclists, other motor users, pedestrians. So the stop, start. So if you're standing, not holding on.
But what's really amazing about the new trams is they sort of jolt around a lot. They don't none of this slow down. They just, have you noticed that?
And the ones that swivel too and have two parts. I mean, if you find yourself on that middle part, you just spun around like crazy.
So you go on there because you love the ride?
Oh, well, look, you know, it can be fun if you don't fall over, but if you're infirm in any way, it's not good.
Well, it's a cheap amusement ride, is it, Rob?
Well, maybe. Not if you fall over.
I guess probably the increase in serious injuries for a number of reasons. One, lack of tram conductors. Two, difference in trams. Yeah. Three, probably increase in usage. And four, our increasing ageing population. And probably the elderly are the ones that use them the most.
At the most risk.
Just on that note, I think we should go and have a look at this new ad from Yarra Trams, which is interesting. And it shows you a fellow with headphones. Just have a look at this.
A tram weighs as much as 30 rhinos. So look, listen, be alert around trams.
What do you think of that, Rob?
That's actually, I think that's a pretty good video. I mean, it really illustrates the danger that trams present. And if there was a flock of rhinos coming towards you, a herd of rhinos, I don't know what you'd call them, you'd be running for the hills. But people don't realise that a tram
I'd be running for the hills because they've got big horns on them.
Well, exactly. But people don't realise a tram can cause just as much damage, and they're everywhere around the city.
What about the bloke with the earphones, Don?
Yeah, got to keep a proper look out there, Tony. And look, we always talk about on this show how motor vehicles are lethal weapons. I mean, trams are just a wrecking ball of steel, and they're electrified as well. So, particularly in the city as well, you just have to be very careful when walking around trams. You've got to negotiate traffic, pedestrians, cyclists, trams, the whole lot.
I think the increase in cyclists, motorcycles and push bikes, it's just highlighted how much unsafer the road is, really.
That's right.
Anyway, let's go to our first case, a matter of Warner and the Royal Commissioner of Trans Adelaide. Rob, do you want to give me the facts?
This one's interesting, Tony. The facts are actually quite rich in their content. Now, what we do agree upon is there was a gentleman who entered a train. He was very inebriated at the time. They say it was about 0.31% blood alcohol. He went on the train and he was with a friend, and he didn't have a ticket, so he was approached by the conductor and a security guard, and they confronted him. There was some kind of altercation, and then he was ejected from the train. Now, that's where the agreement stops after that point.
Don, 0.32. He's blind drunk, isn't he?
0.32, very, very drunk. He says he had 6 stubbies from 4 o'clock, and this accident happened at 11. Sounds like he had a little bit more. He finished off work, went to catch a train. He actually did his shopping as well. Gets on the tram, for some reason sees a friend or acquaintance, and for some reason gives him his ticket. Don't know why, give him his ticket, and then when he was approached by the conductors, as Rob said, the conductor said, "Where's your ticket?" Because I don't have one.
They ejected him.
And then they ended up ejecting him, but a stop earlier than what he wanted to get off at.
But what I can't understand is this. There's a couple of main issues here. The fact that he's so inebriated, is he a risk to the
He absolutely is,
conductors
Tony. Well, he's at a risk to them, to himself, and that's where the accident actually happened, because after he was ejected, he tried to get back onto the train. He followed the train, grabbed onto the door, and then as it was moving, he fell down the side and actually lost a leg.
What I mean by a risk is, what about getting assaulted by this guy?
Well, there was some discussion about the altercation, and in the fray, he may actually have hit one of the either the security guard or the conductor, but that didn't come out clearly in the facts.
So, Don, it took him off the train, and then what? How close to the...
Well, that was a very contentious issue. Apparent to an independent witness, he was very close. He was at the door. In fact, as soon as they ejected him, the independent witness says he fell over, got up, and then he could see his face on the carriage doors. So
anyway,
it's very close.
The train started to take off. The doors have closed. He's chasing the train, is that correct?
He's grabbed onto the train door.
And he's fallen in between the train and the actual platform.
That's right.
Viewers, we've got to go to a sponsors break. Stay tuned and we'll come back with the result of this case. Thank you.